Wow, so I was really genuinely impressed with Scream 6. I would go as far as to say that this is the perfect way in which you reboot a franchise slash do a requel, as it is just such a dramatic improvement on Scream 5, which was a really brilliant film, but I have to say Scream 6 just takes it to another level and is just miles better than Scream 5, but this is going to be a spoiler review for Scream 6, so this is your spoiler warning. So if you haven't seen Scream 6 yet, then definitely go and check it out, or alternatively, you could check out my non-spoiler review to see all of my non-spoiler thoughts of Scream 6, but if you don't mind things being spoiled, then definitely stay where you are. So I thought it was an absolutely brilliant killer twist that we have 3 Ghostface killers, which was just so unexpected and a true industry first in terms of having 3 Ghostface killers, and it was just so unbelievable in the final few moments of this film to have 2 Ghostface killers killing Chad at the same time. And the only other time that we've seen 2 Ghostfaces together on screen at the same time is in one of the stab sequences with Lucy Hale's character and Shanae Grimes having 2 Ghostfaces, one outside the house and one inside the house. But outside of that, we've never really seen it with the main Scream characters, so it was just so shocking to finally see it take place. And speaking of other first things that have never really taken place in a Scream movie before, is having Gale Weathers finally having an altercation and sequence directly with her and Ghostface. I thought it was just so brilliant. It was just so intense. And I feel like Gale Weathers really can hold her own, but of course was always eclipsed by Sidney Prescott in terms of being the focus and the main victim for Ghostface. So it was really nice and refreshing to finally see Courtney Cox having her moment to shine. And she did definitely shine in this film, as her sequence was just so good. Loved all of the chase sequences. Loved the banter between her and Ghostface. Loved the fact that she hung up on Ghostface. Loved the fact that she was trying to outsmart him. The fact that she was able to really hold her own in terms of a vocal response as well, in terms of saying, you know, what does she bring to a franchise? She brings the sex appeal and the humor. I thought it was so brilliant. Speaking of Sidney Prescott, I absolutely love that character. I feel like Neve Campbell plays her to perfection, but it was a little bit disappointing seeing that they didn't really do anything with her in Scream 5, and it does actually also show that the franchise can continue without her, as the franchise is bigger than just Neve Campbell's Sidney Prescott character. And I also did love the fact that they did reference Sidney Prescott and did say that, you know, she has got a happy ending now. So that was a really nice way to close that character off. I'm sure that she will eventually reappear in a Scream sequel one day, but for the moment, it was really nice to actually test the fact that Ghostface and the wider Scream franchise can continue without Neve Campbell and without Sidney Prescott. Like I also said in my non-spoiler review, I do think that Kirby should have and could have just done so much more in this movie, as there was just so much expectation with this character. I did think it was a nice misdirect to maybe make you think that actually she is the person behind all of the Ghostface killings. And I also love the fact, going back to Gale Weathers, that Ghostface did reference the fact that also, you know, she could have been Ghostface, just could have been a nice twist. She could have just gone crazy and just started killing people. So, you know, it does reference all of the theories that people did have going into Scream 6. But, you know, going back to Kirby, she was just so brilliant in Scream 4. I was just expecting a little bit more from her in this particular film. And I also love the fact that they made the Richie character even more iconic, as Jack Quaid just plays him so well, and he really is the new Billy Loomis, as Richie's parents and family are now taking revenge on his behalf. And I thought it was a really nice touch as well that Jack Quaid came back to have a bit of a cameo appearance in all of those video sequences. And of course, Skeet Ulrich also returns as the iconic Billy Loomis. So, you know, those 2 characters are just so good. And Richie really is following in the footsteps of Billy Loomis. And I just thought it was so clever how in Scream 2, you know, it's Billy Loomis's mother that is behind everything and you really don't expect it. And similarly, they were able to pull that off here as well. That actually, you know, is Richie's family that are now taking revenge, except this time it is his father and his brother and his sister. I just thought it was honestly so clever. And I thought it was a really cool, unexpected twist that you really don't see coming. And like I said, it really does pay homage to Scream 2 in a really brilliant way. Now let's go back to the opening of this film. So I thought it was a really funny touch actually to have Samira Weaving's blonde character being the first kill, which of course mirrors Drew Barrymore's character's death. I don't think it was as iconic as that brilliant, unforgettable opening of Scream 1, but what is interesting is that we see the unmasking of Ghostface right in the beginning, But of course, that isn't going to be the killer throughout this movie, as of course he then gets killed himself by Ghostface. I did think that they could have done a little bit more in terms of making the Scream 6 opening even more iconic and maybe having more of a chase sequence and maybe even more crazy and unexpected things taking place. It was really good in terms of subverting your expectations, but like I said, it could have definitely made it even more unbelievable. But what is pretty unbelievable is how brutal Ghostface is in this movie, as he definitely means business. He is even stronger than you've ever really seen him before, and it is just so intense. For example, that shop sequence where he is just killing everybody. Sam and Tara are just so desperate to be quiet, and then when they do make a little bit of noise, you really do feel for them, especially as Ghostface has this shotgun, which is just such a crazy touch. When I saw this in the trailers, I did originally think that, God, they are just turning Scream into any other horror movie, but it was only 1 or 2 scenes where he had a gun, as otherwise he did have his iconic knife. And I thought the ending of this movie was really, really clever. Love the fact that, you have a video on screen in the exact same way that you had the videotapes in the theater in Scream 2, whereas now we have the whole shrine. And on the shrine, I just thought it was so clever how you really do bring the entire franchise together in the shrine in this film. So like I said, this movie just did so many things that really does make it unbelievable and so incredible. And I just thought the ending was just so dramatic. When you're having all of these reveals about who is behind the mask with all of the Ghostface killings, you really are able to quickly put all of the pieces and clues together, which is really, really brilliant. And just all of the things that transpire in terms of Sam and Tara just trying really, really hard to survive when they have 3 unstoppable Ghostface killers around them. And the fact that Sam and Tara are able to survive, as well as Kirby is able to survive, it was just so good. Such a brilliant showdown, and it really does show how brutal also Sam Carpenter is. I don't know if they're trying to play it safe, but it is interesting from a social commentary perspective in terms of all of the killers so far pretty much are just white people. So I don't know if there's a bit of subtext there, but the killer reveals that they did have in this film were really, really brilliant. In terms of Quinn, you really don't expect it, especially as she is best friends with everyone, and you think that she has been brutally killed by Ghostface. But then when you think back, you're like, oh, of course, that's the way in which Ghostface was able to easily send a picture of her to everybody's phone. Detective Wayne Bailey, you really don't suspect him at all, so I feel like the writing with that character was just done so well, as well as, of course, all of his fake tears in terms of the death of his daughter, and the way in which he understandably is reacting to all of this. I thought it was so clever, as of course this guy is the one that was allowing them to create this shrine in the first place, as he is in the police force, so he has access to all this stuff and is able to easily give it to Richie and to his other kids as well. And with Ethan, I thought it was really funny how they made it so blatantly obvious that it is him as Ghostface, so actually your mind is thinking, no, it can't be him, it's too obvious, but then of course he is one of the other killers, so I just thought it all came together so well. Hopefully we get an official announcement that Scream 7 is in the works, because I'm really excited about the future of this franchise, as they have reinvigorated it so well with this film, and you can really feel how passionate the 2 directors are and how much respect they are paying to all of Wes Craven's brilliant work with the entire Scream franchise today. So I feel like they paid homage and respect to it and elevated it in a really authentic and credible way. And like I said, I'm just really excited to see where on earth they're going to take it in the future, as the possibilities are endless, especially given the fact that there are so many survivors now. And I feel like Chad's survival really did mirror Dewey's survival in Scream 2. So like I said, they just did such a good job with this film, and I just can't wait to see what they're going to be doing next. In terms of a final score, very similar to what I gave it in my non-spoiler review, I'm going to give Scream 6 a massive 8 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of Scream 6, so please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.